Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Stu Clark here. If you've watched any of my videos, the one variable that you'll notice is in every single one of them, and that's the Cotton Carrier G3 harness. This is one piece of kit that I really can't speak highly enough of. For starters, this is not paid for. I haven't been sponsored. This is an unsponsored video. I bought this with my own money. You know, anyone that's a wildlife photographer and has been for a long time knows how hard it is on your body. I've been a professional wildlife photographer since 2008. And I'm one of those photographers that I'm a park and hike guy. I want to be out in the field. I want to be on foot. And it's for me, I want to kind of out there on my own. So back in the day, it was all about tripod over the shoulder, going for a hike. And the problem is when you're dealing with that, it's not just the weight of the gear. You know, my current setup, this is 200 to 500 with the Z8, and a small rig cage is about, I think it's 8.2 pounds, about 4 kilos. The problem is it's not just the weight on your shoulder. So you've got that, you've got a cantilever tripod hanging with the camera over your shoulder. It's not just that on your shoulder, but it's actually up and down your body. All of that weight on one side, hiking for, you know, I've hiked with my gear over the last, 5 years, thousands, if not thousands of kilometers. And it's not just, like I say, it's not just kind of going for a kilometer here and there. It's the wear and tear over years of use. And if you're slinging that stuff, it's not just the shoulders, it's the hips, it's the knees. You know, I turned 53 this year and the body's not what it used to be. And using this sort of gear when you're kind of, hiking off into the hills and, going downhill, especially, that extra pounding on your body, and it really adds up over time. And that's where something like the Cotton Carrier here, it's not just that it gives you hands-free. So once you put the camera on it, it's fantastic. You can just, your hands free. So hiking and walking is great. If you're scrambling around, it's fantastic for that. But most importantly is the center of gravity, especially when you got a backpack on. It kind of centers the weight on your body. So it really helps to prevent that side transfer of weight on the hips, that pounding on the one side every single time with the extra weight on that shoulder. And for me, that has been an absolute godsend. Like I said, just the miles I put on my body, and I was getting to the point, even back in the day when I was just slinging D300 with the 300 F4 and teleconverter on a Gitzo tripod, it was about half the weight of my current setup, and just over and over that pounding, it just ended up where the hips really paid for it and got, it was really a problem. I've got the harness, I believe, I'm gonna have to check. I think I got it in 2020. It might have even been earlier than that. I'll leave a thing down below here when I actually got the harness. It's the freedom it's allowed me and just the ability to get out and hike and just enjoy my hiking. Hips and everything, still getting old, the body parts still wear. But this has really made a huge difference for me. So how I like to use it, so the harness, if you're not familiar with this, the Cotton Carrier harness is basically a chest harness that allows you to kind of fasten your camera, it basically uses a metal bolt that melts to the frame of the camera. It basically goes into the tripod nut. I'm utilizing it with the small rig cage on the Z8, and I really like the functionality of this. Because of the way the cage fastens to the camera body, the cage is actually fastens so it comes off the front. So by having this hanging from the body, it actually is hanging on the entire cage here, and it can't go down. So it kind of gives her a nice solid connection. And because the small rig cage uses 3 points to attach to the camera body, I really like this. I'm going to be doing a quick video on small rig cages. I use it on both my Z30 and the Z8. And if you're not using them, they're fantastic. For the little extra added weight, the functionality, being able to bolt things to the camera, microphones and all that, it's amazing. But for me, but also just the protection, just having a metal cage around the camera is just great. So with this, it's basically the slot is basically when you put it in. When you rotate it, it locks in place so it can't come out. A lot of people you'll see online, they put the holder on the tripod foot. Problem for me, you end up with the camera right in your face. If you're to take a bit of a stumble or something, you're going to end up eating the camera, and that's going to be less than ideal. So when you've done it this way, I'm not going to recommend this. This is how I do it. I'm not sure how Cotton Carrier recommends it. It does definitely put a little bit more wear and tear or stress on the camera mount. But what I've done, so how I fasten it on is I put the holder on the camera body, and then I put the strap. So this is a safety strap that basically you want to put around the lens regardless of how you fasten the camera on. But I put the safety strap underneath the tripod foot and then snug it up. So basically the safety strap is kind of a sling that supports the camera as well. And it just works super quick. Just basically unclip it and you're good to go. It's a really nice setup. Once you get the handle of it, it works great. And yeah, I can't speak highly enough about this whole system. You can see here, this is my teleconverter pocket, and it's actually in a really nice position, especially if I'm shooting handheld video. I can actually use it as a bit of an arm. I actually rest my elbow on it, and it really helps give me a little extra stability when I'm trying to handhold for video or in shooting at slower shutter speeds. I find it works quite well for that. Quality of construction, I've just been really impressed. This is a piece of gear that, along with my Scarpa SL boots, it's just been countless hours in the field using it. Rain, wind, snow, you name it, it's seen it. And I've just been so impressed with the quality of the stitching and construction. I know you'll see on Amazon there are some knockoff versions. I don't know if they're still available, and they're half the price. So they're $60 instead of, I think this is $130, $140 right now. And when you've got $8,000 worth of gear hanging off it, I think saving that $60 is pretty stupid, to be honest. This is one thing where Cotton Carrier takes great pride in the quality of their products. I can't say enough about it. I've been so impressed. Like I said, years of use for me, and it's been great. I can't say enough. The one thing that they do also with the G3, you can get the binocular harness that clips on the side here. And that'd be the one weak link, I'd say. I use the Vortex 10x32 binoculars, and I think the smaller size, I just find that they have a tendency when I bend over, they want to rotate out of the holder. And so that's a bit of a pain. Who we got there? Got the baby Junkos coming in there. It's so awesome with this time of year when you go out, you see all the babies chasing the parents around, looking for food. It's very cool. So the binocular harness is the one thing for my use. What happens is when I bend over, the binoculars, I guess the balance of them is such that they'll basically rotate and then they can fall out of the harness. So if you are going to use binocular harness, you definitely want to have the safety leash strapped to it. You want to be very careful of that. I said I don't use the binocular side of it. It's good. It would probably work quite well on a belt loop to get it off of your torso, so it's less likely to be tilting over as much. The problem is, like, you're leaning into your backpack, things like that. The harness bends forward and then it wants to rotate out a little bit. It does have a bit of a mesh pocket on the back. I personally never use it. I've always got a backpack with me, so that just makes sense. Doesn't make sense for me in that regard. The one thing I would like to see, I wouldn't mind seeing a bit of a suspender option that you can attach to the back in order to kind of keep the harness up snugger. You do want to make sure when you have the harness on that you do have it quite snug around your body, and that way it'll help keep the camera up. This is, like I said, 8 pounds, and this would be, I personally would consider this the upper limit of what I would want to be carrying on this harness. You see some pictures online, people have got 402/8 and the like on it. I might be fine for a short distance, but myself, I think that'd be a little bit too hard on my body. Like I say, one issue is as it wants to pull down, you do get a little bit of stress across the neck. So you just want to be aware of that. You don't want to be causing yourself any injury. So these things are, it's one thing if you're just using it once in a while, sure, all good. But if you're going to be doing it, wearing it regularly like I do, just the wear and tear on your body, you just have to be very cognizant of what it's doing. So if you do find it is pulling on the shoulders a little bit, you have to make sure you snug the body up a little bit snugger, and that just helps to kind of keep the harness in place. And you'll find taking it on and off, sometimes you don't quite snug it up when you're out, and then like right now it wasn't quite snug, and now so it just keeps the camera a little bit more in place, and it's just less likely to be bouncing and pulling on you in any kind of weird way. But yeah, that's just a quick review of the Cotton Carrier G3 harness. Great piece of gear. If you're a hiker and you're a photographer, you owe it to yourself to get one of these. It's fantastic. And like the other thing with this, you'll see a lot of times people put the camera in the backpack. I've never been that guy. Where I live in the wild. You know, I've cougars in the area, bears in the area. Things that as a wildlife guy, some stuff just happens so quick. And if you got to dig into the backpack, the opportunity's gone. So this is great. It just gives it's such a quick access to your camera. It's always within hand's reach. And yeah, like I say, can't recommend it enough, the Cotton Carrier G3. And until next time, we'll see you out there. Take care.